welcome to the stage Senator Scott Wiener.
Good evening, everyone, and happy holidays. First of all, I want to thank Michelle, who just, for as long as I can remember, has been such an incredible community leader in San Francisco in the LGBTQ community, and has been such a great civic leader in trying to really connect people to information about our city and about our community. So, Michelle, thank you so much for everything that you do. And I also just want to express my gratitude to the people of San Francisco and northern San Mateo County for entrusting me with this service of serving as your state senator in Sacramento especially now during some very, very challenging times. And I've lived in San Francisco for the last 27 years. This is my home. San Francisco will always be in my heart, and I am just passionate about this great city. And it's been a tough few years for San Francisco. We've gotten kicked around quite a bit. It's the only city on the planet where the closure of one store would make international news. That doesn't happen in most cities, and the reason why that happened with San Francisco, as painful as it's been to see some of the negativity directed at our city, and we do have very real problems, but it's such an amazing city, and because we are such an amazing city is why the world focuses on us, because San Francisco occupies this incredibly unique and special place in the world. And with all of our problems, San Francisco is coming back. We are working on those problems one step at a time. There is so much good happening in this city, so much vibrancy, so much beauty. Every time there's a big outdoor event, people come together, and people want to be together as San Franciscans. So I am very optimistic for this city's future. People love writing San Francisco's obituary. You can probably have a big coffee table book of all the obituaries written about San Francisco over the last century or so. And every time they count us out, we come back stronger than before, and that's going to happen again. So I love this city, and I want to just say thank you to everyone who makes this city the amazing place that it is. So have a wonderful holiday and enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Let's welcome Del Seymour, the mayor of the Tenderloin, and also the founder of Code Tenderloin.
They told me I had 2 minutes to speak. I'm 77 years old. It took me 2 minutes to get up here, so I'm out of time already. This is a very honor to be up here. And I guess the theme tonight is humanity and how we look at people and respect and dignify their humanity. You could be in the White House or you could be in Ellison Jones. You're both human. People have not necessarily picked their place in life. I wish we could, because I would probably be in the 80th floor on some high rise somewhere in Baja or whatever it is. Unfortunately, we don't get to pick our place in life. And a lot of our people, I'm from the Tenderloin. That's who I am. I'm from the Tenderloin. And you all know my neighborhood. And it's a struggling but lovely neighborhood. I love it to death. I've been there 38 years. I could leave anytime. And people ask me, "Man, did you ever want to leave the Tenderloin?" I said, "Yeah, every day." But I can't, because I'm a humanist. There's people down there struggling. As I said earlier, I'm 77 years old, black man, which is kind of obvious. But when I think about leaving and really think about having a bad day, I said, you know what? I need to leave here. I don't have to be here. And then I'll walk by a 77-year-old black man laying in his own waste. And when I look at him, I'm looking at me, because that used to be me. And until I can get him and Sheila and Tyrone into a better situation, I can't leave. Because when I was on those streets 18 years, and people helped me, showed me the way, and showed me some positivity, because I thought I would never leave those streets. I was hooked. I was hooked on the streets. I was hooked on the drugs. I was hooked on the drama. I was hooked on the crime. I thought I would never leave. but people convinced me and stayed with me and supported me. And that's kind of what I do in the Tenderloin. I try to work with the other Dale Seymours, the other Sheila Seymours, the other folks that have not made that decision to put their life in a different situation. We do the best we can. I have an organization called Code Tenderloin, and we take people out of the tents and we put them to work. Not at Burger King, not at Walgreens, but at Twitter, at LinkedIn, at Microsoft, at Uber, not driving the Uber, upstairs in Uber. So, and that's all built on how people help me. So when you walk through my neighborhood, or any neighborhood with unhoused, everybody in here lives in a neighborhood with unhoused. It's impossible not to, especially in the Bay Area. Recognize the people that you pass by. Because you may walk down one of our sidewalks and you'll look at Tyrone, who's stretched completely out on the sidewalk, and you got to either walk over him or walk out the street. And you're probably saying, because I've said it before myself, why is this guy blocking the damn sidewalk? But you know what he's saying to you? Why are you walking through my bedroom? And you won't even say hello. If any one of you all in here walk through my bedroom tonight, you better say something. Say hello. It's not his bedroom, really. You know who gave him that bedroom? We did. Because as citizens, functional people, members of society, we are the government. Those people in City Hall and Scott and them, they just kind of work for us. We are the government. And we have failed Tyrone and Sheila by not allowing them escape from the calamity that they're in. So we've given them a bedroom. We want to say Tyrone took a left turn on life. Life took a left turn on Tyrone. He don't want to be out there. Believe me. You may think that, well, they went over to offer them a shelter. Anyone in this room ever been in a shelter? That tent's a lot more hospitable because it's his or hers. You can turn the lights off when you want. You can go to sleep when you want. You can decide who's going to lay next to you. You don't have that in the shelter. So when you see Tyrone not accepting those one option that the city will give them, that's not even an option because there's one choice. That's why he won't get off that street. Offer him something decent. None of us in this room would take that as an option. So why should Tyrone? Probably no one in this room would voluntarily go into a shelter. There's one right next door. So why do you expect Tyrone to? So we just got to be better in our offering to the people on the streets. We have no mental health in this city. We have no access to mental health in this city. Yeah, you'll say, well, no, they have a little bit. Little bit is none. It's nowhere near the capacity that we need to solve our problems. Nobody really wants to be out there, but with mental illness and substance abuse, man, that's all people think, and they think they'll be out there for the rest of their life. I pass by every day and see people that I was laying out there with 30 years ago that are still laying in the same spot I was laying next to them 30 years ago. And if I come up here 10 years from now, I'll be able to say they've been out there 40 years, because they will be. So we all got to do better and offer it. And everyone in this room, someone in their family is unhoused. Just remember who they are and remember the people that you walk by. That's not a fire plug. That's not a street light. That's not a parking meter. That's someone's mama. That's someone's brother. That's someone's grandson, someone's grandfather. That's your ex-teacher. That's your ex-firefighter that got a mental illness. That's your veteran that came home and never got his benefits. Those are human beings. So let's keep it human. Let's respect people, give them their dignity. Say hello. Look them in the eye. You might be the only person that has looked that man in the eye in 3 days with a loving look. That might change his whole day. That might make his day so much better. And we work so hard for our people on the streets. I just want to honor Cheryl Davis here, who's been a member San Francisco so long, has done so much for people, A to Z, our kids, our college students. She brought, I don't know, 100 or so college students from all over the United States to intern in San Francisco this past summer. Hopefully they'll come back and become members of our government. But people like Cheryl Davis I honor and love so much. And I want to be able to one day come here and call every one of you out and thank you for what you did, thank you for what you did, thank you for what you did. So I'm going to challenge you all, because I may be back here a year from now, that when you come in, I'll call you out. So let me know. God bless. Have a great night.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for this special end-of-the-year program here. I'm Michelle Miao, and I'll be moderating this awesome, fantastic, human conversation, this humanistic conversation. I'm a member of the Board of Governors for the Commonwealth Club of World Affairs and also producer of this program that focuses on the LGBT, LMNOP, and everyone in between. Our special guest tonight, I think, Del really hit it home here in terms of the spirit. We've had a lot of opportunities to connect and talk, but I really feel what we need to do here every day moving forward, what we need to embody is just that spirit that Del is talking about. Harry Williams has dedicated his work in capturing the resilience and humanity of our most marginalized communities. So I'm deeply honored to introduce Harry here tonight for our special end of the year program. Harry, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks for everybody for coming out tonight too. Appreciate it.
Now, look, why don't we get to know you, just a little bit and talk a little bit about, that road, that journey to getting to where you're at today. Share some stories of little Harry. Where did you grow up?
So I'm from a small farm town in Ohio called West Jefferson. So that was a little difficult growing up there, being literally the only brown kid in the town. And I think that sometimes that's kind of helped me, though, along, like, in my travels and journey in photography to connect with people, because I understand what that kind of feels like to kind of be on the outside of a community. So, but fast forward from that, I went to the Ohio State University. I got my degree in photography. I wasn't quite sure after college. I didn't want to do commercial photography. I worked in a commercial photography studio in college, and I was like, oh, I don't really like this. So one of my friends kind of talked me into this idea of traveling in Southeast Asia and creating a body of work. So literally I sold everything that I owned, my clothes, car, furniture, everything that I could make money on, I sold it. And me and my best friend and my girlfriend at the time, we went to Southeast Asia, and I was going to work on this body of work and practice my photography. So from small town Ohio to my first international travel, getting dropped off in Bangkok. And it was crazy, but my best friend that went with me, we were friends since we were 6 years old. So it's like a brother. It's like so much trust in this guy. And we both came from humble beginnings. We both had the same kind of path growing up. So we understood each other, and we were both really open to trying anything new. And I think at that point, that's what was most amazing, is that like every single day was something new. It's meeting somebody new, eating something new, just like you're just constantly. And that's how I kind of started my journey of street photography. Back then it was all film. I had a manual camera, just nothing expensive, one lens, because I couldn't carry a bunch of stuff around, and which was great because it was with a 50 millimeter lens, and that forces you to get close to people, if you want to get a particular shot. So there's a lot of shots I never took back then. Plus I didn't have a lot of money for film, and that's kind of like that's like the roots and trying to figure out really what I want to shoot. I was really shy at the time. I loved seeing all these different people and cultures and stuff. But I look back on a lot of that stuff and I'm like, oh my God, I missed so many opportunities just because I was just young and shy and wasn't really sure what I wanted to photograph. So
The travel zoo, is that the first time you picked up a camera? Curious to know. I mean, did it start as a hobby before it became, right, your
yeah,
life's
well, I had worked on projects in college and stuff, but it wasn't really the same. They weren't like bodies of work, and I really knew that I wanted to create a big body of work. I wasn't sure what that was going to be because I didn't really know anything about Southeast Asia. It's just that I'm like, oh, we can go there and it's not that expensive and we can live, for our money will go for a long way. So I think as that time period went, I started to kind of feel like, oh, this is what I want to photograph. This is what, along the trip, I was there for almost a year. I would have my images, my negatives developed so I could just kind of look at them. And I would look at them like, oh, that's okay. But it was always like the portraits. Because those were the hardest ones to get, because you had to figure out how to make a connection with people, and I don't speak the language, so I don't, so it was really, really tough back then. Now it's not as difficult, but that was, it's quite a while ago. Smiling and doing things and, to try to get a shot. So
Let's look at some of the images that you took in your early years, I guess.
Yeah.
That trip to Southeast Asia.
Whoops. Uh-oh.
Now we're flipping through
Yeah.
Harry's book.
So this is just like a little abbreviated look at some of the images that I took. You can see some of the portraits and stuff that I took. In the middle of the page, I used to like to photograph like these items that were just kind of discarded, and also they actually could be. I like the fact that they could be anywhere. Like they weren't. You wouldn't look at this one on the bottom like, oh, that was shot in an island in Thailand, and I wasn't really sure what it was about them, but it was just like I felt like these things had a soul and a life beforehand, and I would kind of narrate this whole story around them. And I think too, I was just kind of shy still. I wasn't really sure what I was going to photograph, but I would always kind of like wander and find these little vignettes and stuff and shoot. And then slowly but surely, I started to shoot portraits, and you can see this is like some of my really, really early portrait work.
So for some of these folks that you did meet, right? You mentioned it earlier. I didn't speak the language and kind of quite shy. I mean, what was that like to approach somebody that
Well,
it's a whole new culture for you?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Take a picture.
Yeah, I think that, and what I've learned over that time is that it's just like a little thing to connect with somebody, and it's got to be instant. So like the woman here on the bottom, she had this thing and it said a shirt that said USA Jeans, and this was like in the middle of nowhere in the mountains in some island way out there in Indonesia. And I saw that and I started laughing. I was like, oh my, like, it was just the most random thing. And I smiled at her and I said, oh, like, I like your shirt. And then I held my camera up. She's like, and, so I took the shot, and then I should have probably showed the other one. As soon as I took the shot, then she busted out laughing, and I waited, and she started, and I thought that sequence was really nice. I almost liked the after than the before, and I started realizing it's just like, it's just like these little things to connect with people. And throughout that journey of taking and approaching people, it's been the same ever since. Like I would just find one little thing to compliment somebody or say something to somebody, and that will be the door kind of in. And sometimes people are like, no, I don't want to get my picture. But most of the time people are like, proud and happy, and, so. So after when I was in Southeast Asia, though, I felt like when I came back, like, I have like these little, I have some good pictures, but there wasn't like a body of work. It's just like, some people would say like, they're nice pictures, but this is like you're a travel photographer. So then I went back and I went to northern Vietnam to, someone had told me, you should go to northern Vietnam and see the hill tribes called the Black Hmong. And so I went up there, and then I was just like blown away. And I already had kind of known from my previous trip how I wanted to photograph it, what I wanted to focus on. And you can see this is way more, it evolved even after like a couple years. Like, okay, I want to focus on these portraits. I want to show the story about what they're making, what are they doing with their hands, how they're working in the field. So like this day I went to was literally in the water with them when they were planting the rice and stuff. And I even helped them a little bit, and immediately my hands were all like blistered, and they were laughing. It's like, oh, you're so lazy, you lazy American. And it was just banter, but really funny. And I'll say, like, the image down on the corner of the elderly woman, that was just kind of like a pivotal moment for me, because I had saw her in the village and the light was so beautiful on her. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, sometimes I always say this a lot, like, you can see the photo before you take it. And I could just see that's going to be a beautiful photo. And so I had a friend, one of the Hill Tribe girls, the one at the top left, and I said, oh, I really want to take her photo. And she said, so she asked her, and she said, no, you can't take my photo. And I said, well, tell her that she looks like my grandmother. And my grandmother's so beautiful. Why wouldn't you let me, like, my grandmother's so beautiful. Like, are you saying that she's not, like, being elderly? And she started giggling, and then she's like, okay, you can take my photo. And then I was like, that's how you connect with people. Like, sometimes I'll have a lot of people tell me no, but then when I tell them really why, then they'll do that. They'll laugh or they'll giggle and be like, okay, you can do it, And so I photographed her, and then I photographed her hands, which I really wanted to photograph her hands because they were all stained. She was like, I think she was probably in her 90s, but all those years of staining and making clothes with indigo had dyed her hands black almost. And it was just the most beautiful hands, when I saw them. I was like, oh my God. So the picture on the top left, they took me over to their family's house. So they really kind of took me in and took me like to places where like I didn't ever saw any other tourists. So I was really fortunate for that.
For this community, I mean, they are definitely marginalized, even in the region that they live in. So for what you learned and the experiences and the connections that you made while meeting Black Hmong, did you tell these stories like over and over? Because it's not like every day people, like all of us, know of the story, the origin of the Black Hmong culture.
Did I tell that or?
No, I mean, like, has it become, like, every time you tell the story or the connection of meeting them, and right, like, these photos are here. They're you took them then, we're showing you them now. And so I'm just, curious, like, for you, do you kind of feel like it's your job to always tell their story, kind of?
I guess a little bit. I think more there's so many individual stories of when I was there, and then it was just really eye-opening. I had one experience where it just really blew me away, where the Vietnamese really treated them like second-class citizens, and the girls and stuff were like, "This is our land, like we're native to here, but we can't even go up on this hill to a park. We have to pay money, but we." You know what I mean? Our people are from here, and that really was like, wow, like that happens all over the world. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that was really, this is really kind of crazy to see. So, yeah.
And then, so from Southeast Asia, you go to Mexico and you continue your journey.
Yeah. So from after that. You can see, like, I started to really, really think about my work, and then as I would travel to different places and immerse myself in a community, and also, like, what do I really want to show as if I travel to, like, these different places in different countries. So I had been to Mexico a few times, and I started thinking, I'm like, I love photographing people's hands, and I thought, oh, this would be a great project to show people's hands that are artisans, people that work in the fields all through Mexico, because their hands just have such a story to them, and their portraits as well, but mostly hands. So this is a series that I'm still actually working on, but it's all through Mexico City, where really wherever I go in Mexico. And then you can see these are some different shots of hands. A woman that's working at the market, a few of them are working at the market, a person that works with leather tools. So yeah, and actually hands are more difficult to photograph than portraits. Like a lot of people will tell me like, oh, you can take a picture of my face, but not my hands. And I'm like, oh, like if their fingernails are dirty or something like that. And that's not, the thing that I really love about hands is just like a landscape of their life. So you see all these knots and these cuts and these marks, and they all are a story about something that had happened to them in their life. That's what I really find beautiful about them. And then fast forward, so there's a lot of other projects and photography that I'm doing, but fast forward to this is San Francisco. So
Yes. How did we get back to San Francisco from Southeast Asia, Mexico, and then because you're building on this. By now you've made certain connections. Maybe you're not as shy as
Right.
you get back to San Francisco. Tell us how.
Yeah. So fast forward from all those years, and I just got to the point where I'm like, if I miss that photograph and I don't ask that person or even approach them, if I see something really beautiful, all night long it'll bother me, and it's just over and over. I'm like, oh, like, what's the worst somebody's gonna say? No, or but I can already see that photo. Like I can see how nice it's gonna be, and so I'm like, I'm just gonna talk to people, and so since like 2017 is really when I started on the streets here. I would just kind of wander, and it was just kind of anybody. A lot of times people will say, oh, he only photographs homeless people. I'm like, that's not the case. It's just people that are hanging out in their neighborhoods or on their street, and that like Del said, I'll stop and talk to, just acknowledge. They might ask me for a cigarette or something like, oh, I don't got that, but hey, what are you up to? And they're like, oh, not much. And then we'll have this long conversation, and then I'll leave, and they're like, hey, like, thank you for talking to me, so.
Well, is it the city or the people that you're most drawn to as far as San Francisco?
That's interesting. Probably a little bit of both. The backdrops of some of the people that I photograph are amazing, and the people, because it is very diverse. So I think it's a little bit of both. So
Yeah.
It's hard to say, but so these are some of the works that are in my book, and a lot of these are from the Mission, the headshots. Some of them are in the Tenderloin. These are some more landscapes of. And what I like about this body of work is that it's almost like a timeline, historical timeline. The shot that's at the bottom left, that was the day after San Francisco was put on shelter in place. And I went downtown, and that was like the only thing that was downtown. The wheelchair, the pigeon, and the person. And it's such an eerie photo. This was in the Mission. And then the one at the top left, that's in the Mission as well. So I used to shoot a lot in the Mission. That particular photo was in the De Young Open, and it's really funny because I told my parents, I'm gonna try to put a photo for the De Young Open, and I showed them the picture. Like, are you crazy? Why would you put that photo in there? And I said, but it's not what you think. Like, it's not, that's not how not the way that I wanted people to perceive it. But then it got into the De Young Open, and it's pretty well received. So,
You've made some really powerful connections, obviously, in the city, and we can tell through your photos. And you get this question a lot, right? Why shoot in the Tenderloin? Why shoot in 6th Street?
I think really what it is that as I wander around, sometimes you'll go through if I was walking through Pacific Heights, this is a beautiful area, but there's nobody outside. There's really nobody to talk to. There's nobody hanging out. So when you walk through the Tenderloin, there's people on the corner. They're listening to music. Sometimes they're dancing. They're hanging out, and it's kind of lively, and it's fun. And so I was really kind of drawn to those areas, because people are out, and it reminded me of Bruce Davison, some of the old photographers that would shoot in New York City in in Harlem or the Bronx, and you see everyone out and they're kind of living their lives, Gordon Parks and stuff. And I was like, that's the kind of shots I want. That's the kind of photography I want to do. So, and as I traveled too, is the same thing, because a lot of those communities, their houses aren't really big, or so people will go outside and they'll hang out. So, I just find like the same thing in the Tenderloin. I think people are in their SROs and they're so small, so they want to come down and they want to hang out and have a drink with their friends on the corner, listen to music. And it's in the main thing too is a lot of times you just see and meet people that you would never meet. Mm-hmm. They're really, really interesting, or they're dressed really unique. And it's just, and I can go there, and every day when I walk down there, I have no idea what I'm gonna see. Like, I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna do portrait ever, but I know I'm gonna photograph somebody really interesting and have a great story, after that day is over.
I'm just gonna ask the audience really quickly. Raise your hand if you know a little bit or a lot about the history of the Tenderloin. Yeah, this is good. A few of us. Yeah, actually, we were talking about this, and it prompted me to dig a little bit deeper than my own knowledge of the Tenderloin. I mean, the Tenderloin in San Francisco is kind of like the city's, secret. It's vice. It's underbelly, if you will, just because, right, historically speaking, this is the part of the city that is oftentimes neglected, either, by its leaders or however way you want to look at it in terms of opportunities. I mean, in the 70s, the refugees from Southeast Asia came. They could only afford to live in the single room occupancy units. So that becomes like a part of the community. Prior to that, you had the bars, the nightclubs, the artists, it's like all these folks that you are your neighbors, you meet. It's not necessarily the financial district and whatnot. But with that mix, and then the city then not really putting all its resources into this community of working class folks, we're experiencing what we're experiencing now, because that has the gentrification and a lot of what Della was talking about, that has all affected and impacted. And I think sometimes, like, especially if you're new to San Francisco, you don't understand that context, and you jump in and you just have all these assumptions. You have been given, you've gave yourself this opportunity. You went out there to really get to know people of the Tenderloin. Tell us about some of those connections that you've made.
Yeah, so the Tenderloin had always been an area where, like, a lot of photographers I know in the city were like, oh, you can't go there. They don't want to see you there with your camera, or you're gonna get your camera stolen. And so it was just kind of this kind of taboo. And I was like, well, why would that be? And so I just decided to start walking through, and when you go to any area, it's not even the Tenderloin, but you don't just want to start like clicking your camera away at people or whatever. I don't know that person on the corner, what their situation is, or this and that. So I just went in very gingerly and would meet maybe one or two people and talk to them and photograph them. But what I would do is every time I would photograph somebody is I would bring them their picture back. And so as I would bring them a picture back, they would show their friends and be like, oh, well, wow, that guy gave you a picture? Take my picture. And so that's kind of like how they would see, like, oh, he's not here, he's not a cop, for one, and he takes really nice pictures, and he'll take a picture of your family or your dog or whatever. And so that's kind of how I started. But it was over a year. And like I said, I know how to photograph there. It's not like I'm constantly walking around with my photo or my camera taking pictures of everybody. I'll go and I'll photograph the people that I know. I'll meet some new people. And as I've worked there more and more over the year, people trust me, and they're like, oh, that's the photography guy. They don't know my name, but they're like, oh, that's that guy. So if you go up and ask him to take your picture, he'll bring you a picture, and people get really excited about it, you know. This is 6th Street. This is another street I've been photographing for the last year. The same, meeting people and talking to people. So this is Jones and Ellis, and it's kind of like how my work is shown on the corner of Jones and Ellis. I have it all wheat pasted, like 48 by 36, of really big prints of people. And it's pretty much just celebrating everybody that I meet on that corner, you know?
Yeah, what are some of the responses they give you when they see themselves up there?
This is really funny. So my whole intent was that I had been photographing there for a while. I'm like, oh, I'm not sure where I'm going to show this work at. And so there was a bar that was closed on the corner, and I was trying to talk to the owner. I'm like, well, maybe I'll have a show there, because I'd like it to be in the Tenderloin for all the people to see their pictures. And he's like, oh, I'm going to make it into a Family Mart store, so, you know, you can't really do that. But he's like, if you want to put a picture on the wall outside of the building, then you can do that. And so I said, you know, like the whole side. He's like, yeah, because there was graffiti and stuff. It looked really bad. So he's like, yeah, you can do the whole side. So a friend, Dan Danzig, he volunteered to help me. We had a bunch of prints, and we went there, and we were walking there. We're like, this is either going to go really good or really bad, because I don't know what the people are going to think when they see their picture. Like, these are big pictures. And it was really, really amazing. Like, the response, people were just like so happy to see their pictures on the wall. And they were like, oh my God, you made me feel like a movie star. I'm so happy. And like, now when people drive through here, they're not like looking at, you know, the people that are sleeping on the ground or in tents. They're like looking up at us. You know, they're not looking down on us anymore. And so it was completely what I would not have expected. And even after that, I would walk back to, you know, to the corner to take pictures, and people would hug me. Oh, thank you, thank you. And a lot of people were protected too, because there was a lot of graffiti around, and they're like, you know, we saw these guys coming over here, and they were going to try to mark up, and we're not going to let them do that. You know, this is ours. And so it was really, really amazing, really amazing.
By the way, if you have questions for Harry, we'll take them. We have a mic that we'll pass around in just a little bit, so hang on to your questions. I wrote this question, you know, and we talked a lot about it. Is I think when I want to know each and everybody's story, is how you make me feel. Like, I really want to get to know these folks. So you've established relationships with some of them. Do you want to share, you know, some of the stories, maybe the people that you've accumulated?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for this one, but I'll skip to, this just kind of shows what the mural kind of looks like currently, and then some graffiti that somebody put on there that said, I love my Tenderloin family. You make me proud to be here amongst people that really do care. They wrote that on their picture. I thought that was really beautiful. And then the bottom left is just like not every week, but maybe every couple weeks, that's the amount of prints that I'll print and sleeve and walk around and give people that I have photographed that particular week. So usually every couple weeks. So I probably have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pictures out that I have given people. But this is a really beautiful couple that I met talking about on the corner. So this is Autumn and Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea I had met on the corner, and he was single. And Autumn I had met differently, and I would always see Autumn whenever somebody would be playing music. She was always the one like dancing, and she actually looks like a professional dancer. I was like always blown away when she would start dancing, and I would have to photograph her. But they met on the corner of Jones and Ellis, and they became a couple. And I just thought it was so beautiful, because one day my girlfriend and I were walking in Union Square, and I saw them together. I'm like, what are you doing down here? I only see you in the Tenderloin. And so I photographed them, and then The one of in the middle of Autumn Crying, the next week or something, I had given her the print of her and Brian, and she just started crying, and she's like, like thank you for seeing us that way, like seeing us as a couple, seeing us as the beauty in us, and not at our lowest point. And that, through my photography, especially over there, like I have a lot of ups and downs. Some days I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this? People are yelling at me or trying to fight me or something. And like, it's just frustrating. And then a moment like that will happen. And then I'm just like, oh, that just makes it all the worthwhile, and I love that. But I love this couple. And then there's the first person actually that I met over there. He called himself Buffalo. So this is Buffalo Smooth, and he was unhoused. He lived in a tent right on Jones and Ellis. Always dancing, always singing, always very jubilant. And naturally, I was attracted to him. So I photographed him. He was the first person I really photographed the most and got to know the most. And a lot of times I would just go there and we'd have a beer and talk. And he just had this really great spirit about him. He never complained about his situation or anything. I actually didn't even know his name. He didn't tell me his name. Only thing he told me, he's like, I was born on Christmas Day. That's it. And my name's Buffalo Smooth. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And so, and I would go and photograph him, and he wanted to be a rap artist, singer. So sometimes I would film him. And I said, you know what, if I ever have a show, I'm going to have you perform. He's like, yeah, I love that. So, there's just some different vignettes of him over the year.
Well, we do have a special performance, or a couple of special performances, both live and also video. So hang on to that. Yeah, it's gonna be so cool. Do you get attached? Like, I mean.
Yeah. Like Buffalo and
Smith
I were
is a
like,
friend.
yeah, we were really good friends. Like every time I'd show up, we hug each other. Sometimes I would just hang out and we would just talk, and I wouldn't do any photography. And other times, he would tell me about his certain things, his situation stuff. But yeah, we were really, really good friends. He would look after me. If somebody would start yelling at me, he'd say, oh, no, this is my photographer. He's cool, don't worry, So we were really, really good friends.
Well, I particularly love this story here, the picture here to the bottom left with the cake.
Yeah, so, he kept telling me my birthday is Christmas Day. So my girlfriend Angela and I are like, you know what? Okay, Christmas Day, we're going to go down, we're going to bring him a cake, and we're going to, bring some alcohol, have a party for him. So last Christmas, we brought him a cake, and he was so happy, and he was just like...
Yeah.
We celebrated the whole block. Everyone was dancing, and it was great, And I think he took the cake and put it in his face, and but he would do these things because he knew it would make a good photo, and a lot of times that I spent with him, things would happen. Like I remember one time he was almost going to get in a fight with a guy. I don't even know what transcribed, and the guy pulled a gun on him. And the gun fell on the ground, and I'm like right there. And then everyone started laughing because the guy's gun fell on the ground. And I was like, and the guy took off running. And then he was like, did you get that? I'm like, hell no, I didn't get that. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I was hiding around the corner. But there's other things that would happen that he would, something would happen. There might be an argument with somebody, or he's like, come on. You got to get in here and get, I'm like, no. I don't want to get in the middle of that. But he understood, he really wanted to show the life too around that. So when he was singing or he was dancing and everybody was dancing, it was fun. It was really, really, and I think what resonated with me is that even when he would be singing or doing something, some random person would walk by him, and then automatically they would start dancing, just a random stranger on the street. And I was like, wow, that music can transport somebody from where they're at just for that moment, and they can forget everything else, and they're like just in the moment dancing and having fun, and then they'll go back to whatever they were doing. But I was like, oh, that's really beautiful. So the top one on the right, that was another guy I really know really well named Shorty. And I had showed up, and Shorty almost had a heart attack. And so Buffalo was really talking to him like, you're my best friend. Like, how can you do this? Like, you cannot die. You got to take care of yourself. Quit drinking. And I was having this talk with him, and I was right there. The one on the top left is when he got his tent taken away, and he just has all of his stuff right there, and he's like, I don't know, like, what I'm gonna do, but.
So you get to experience this in a way that some of us have not. I guess, what are we missing here? I mean, I understand it differently by you sharing your work in this way. Like, we're talking about our neighbors, really, but I don't know, at the same time, it's almost like this big question I have because I think I'm blaming somebody. This is me personally saying, I think I'm blaming somebody, for the situations that we're in. But what are we missing here?
I don't know. It's a very complicated situation. I think that's what's missing, is that everyone wants to say, oh, it's so easy, just take the tents away or just do this, but it's not, And what he explained to me is like, why do I want to go to a shelter? I don't want to go to a shelter. I feel like I have more freedom, like in a tent. I have my privacy. And I said, oh, I get that. And he, it's like, I know they want to take the tents away. So I don't know. It's a very complicated. There's not, like, you can't just say, oh, just do this one thing, like a wand, and it'll be gone. It's not like that, There's a lot of people with mental issues and drug issues that kind of go with the mental. So, yeah, but I do know, though, that everybody wants to be seen and acknowledged, and just, if someone asks you for something, a lot of people would just ignore them,
Right.
And I think, like what Del said, is it's very true. It's a lot of people that I photograph, and even people that I don't photograph will be like, yeah, you're the first person I talked to in a week. Like, I haven't talked to, no one will talk to me, and, or I just had this situation where a woman, she said, just last week, like, don't take my picture. Why are you taking my picture? I'm like, I'm not, my camera was down. I'm like, I'm not taking your picture. She got really mad at me. And then after a few minutes, she came over to me and she said, she apologized. She said, I'm sorry. I just found out I have cancer. And my son's here and he won't come and see me. And I gave her a hug and she started crying. And it was like, it's just like she just wanted a human touch. That's it. And then she, she's like, thank you. I'm so sorry, but thanks for talking to me. Just thanks for listening. I just needed to talk to somebody, so. And then
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, and then this is the last. So Buffalo Smooth, he had I don't know if it was a mental breakdown, but it was really bad, and he completely flipped. He was kind of violent to people, and he ended up getting beat up on the street. And this was the last picture I took of him. I took him into a cafe. I bought him some food. I said, maybe that would help you, And then that was the last time I saw him. So we haven't seen him since. So it's really kind of sad.
We're going to open up for questions from the audience now, and got a mic going. So raise your hand if you've got a question or comment for Harry. Right here or over there. Yes.
Thank you, Harry, for sharing such lovely moments. I'm almost crying. So my question is, how can you tolerate all this, everything that you heard, that you've seen, that you feel? Like, it's so hard for me to see, like.
Yeah, it's difficult. Like, there's a lot of times that Well, luckily, I have Angela. Angela's such a huge support for me, and I can unload on her at the end of the day, or else it'd be a lot. It's a lot to take in, and there's a lot of times I'm just kind of like, it's just like, wow, like, I have a daughter, and you'll see a beautiful girl on the street or something, and like, wow, that's somebody's daughter, and I don't know how she got here, but it's really sad. So, yeah, I'm not really sure how I process it. But I know, like, I think the way that I process it the most is that I feel like if I give them something, like if I photograph them, and even if it's somebody that doesn't have a place to stay, and I give them a picture, it just changes their whole day. It just really, they're like, no one, I haven't, like one person said, I haven't had my picture taken since I was like second grade. Or this one guy I photographed, I came back and he literally had the picture, he put tape around it so it would be waterproof, put it around his chain, and he was wearing it around his neck. And I was just like, wow. So that power of like giving back just a little bit is huge, or I'll walk away and somebody would be like, just keep staring at their picture. Like, everything's so digital, but to have this, something tangible to look at of yourself all the time, like it just doesn't happen anymore. So
Thank you so much for all your love.
Hi, Harry. Congratulations and thanks for sharing all the powerful stories. I'm curious, you approach this almost like a religious practice, like a spiritual practice. And I'm wondering, how you see the camera and how you see yourself. If you turn the lens, if you look through the lens at yourself, is this a kind of form of religious or spiritual practice, or has it become that for you? Do you see the camera as a tool for that?
I think so, a little bit, it's, I think in life you have to have a balance of certain things, and if I'm not out shooting, then I get really irritated. If I'm not out surfing, I get irritated. If I'm not doing this. So it's a balance, and I'm itching to get back out there and photograph. And it's a little bit of an adrenaline rush too, because you see something and then you actually get that shot. And then I'm like, I just can't wait to get home and process it. Like, there's some photographers that'll shoot stuff like, oh, I'm not gonna look at this for like 6 months. And I'm the complete opposite. I'm just like Christmas. Like, I can't wait to get home and look at that picture. I'm like, oh my God, I got that. So I think it is part of my practice. If I didn't do it, I would be really irritated,
I'm curious, how often do you shoot?
It usually depends. Like, I'll try to go out. I mean, I'll try to shoot something every day, but usually like 3 times, 4 times a week. Yeah.
I cannot find any words to explain. A picture, a photo has 1,000 words, but these photos brought 100,000 tears in our eyes. You are the voice of the voiceless people. Mm-hmm. We love you, and we wish you more success.
Thank you.
You're a human rights. We have a poem about human being are member of the whole from 800 years ago. The English translation is in the United Nations wall. It is about how human connection. I know the Farsi and I have the English translation, and I will send it to you. And thank you for all your help.
Thank you.
There's a question right here.
Hi, I think one of the most powerful things is that you see these people, and we mostly just look through them, and they're invisible. And that must be something so special for them to be seen by people instead of looking through them. Do you think that the time you've spent talking to these people and getting to know the neighborhood gives you any insights specifically on what we're doing wrong, about how we should resolve homelessness, and you know, the problems, because that's, you know, the big rap about San Francisco, which every other city has the same problem, but we seem to have become the poster child for it.
I don't know. Honestly, you know, also too, like a lot of the people that I photograph aren't homeless. I think I'll photograph everybody, but I think that's sometimes a misconception is people are like, oh, he's champion for the homelessness, or and I'm like, I mean, I'll photograph some people that are homeless, but that's not, I'm just photographing people that are in the neighborhood. But as far as that question, this is hard. Like, I hear different things from different people that are on the street. I think what most of them will say is that the leaders need to come down here, you know, like they need to walk the streets, talk to the people that are on the streets and understand them, instead of just, they're not from this neighborhood. They don't know any of us. And then they're trying to tell us what to do. That's really the main thing that I hear from everywhere that I go.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to understanding the history, though. Time and time again, it's the city's little spot that they want to ignore.
Right.
And, you know, if we really paid attention and understood the resources that we need to balance, you know, but at the same time, my opinion, I'm like, maybe there's some priorities out there that don't necessarily include, you know, that part of town.
Right.
But that's for another program in 2025. Questions, comments from the
Hi.
audience?
Hi, Harry. So I noticed I really like your sharing. It do inspire me a lot, because I'm also a photographer, and I stopped doing photography for a while because I don't know what to shoot. And I know that you live first, you're enjoying your life first, and then you shoot down what you're enjoying. So I really like that. And then also your picture is like, you're not only shooting with a photographer perspective, but you get to know with them, you're connecting with them, and then try to show them. Are you trying to show them how you look at them, or trying to show how there originally is? And then I was also wondering what makes you become a person like that? Like, what inspire you the most from all of your life? And then also, like, why do you choose San Francisco as a place to start your photography project? Thank you.
That's a lot of questions.
There is a reception after this where you can absolutely connect with Harry. Yeah.
Well, yeah, San Francisco, I mean, I live here, so this is my backyard, so that's why I shoot the most here. And it's a great city for doing street photography. It's just because there's wonderful backdrops, there's all these different neighborhoods. So that's why I probably shoot the most here. But I love to travel. I travel a lot, and I love to go and immerse myself in a different culture, different city, just wander, get lost, and kind of do the same thing. We went to Egypt, and it was kind of like that. There was no other photographers around. You can just kind of wander and meet people, and it's the same thing. It's kind of like the same thing all my life from traveling to do photography. Like, you just trust people. In Egypt, a guy was going, we go like this, a guy was like, you know, come, sit with me. And I was like, oh, you know, like, I don't know this guy, but I'm like, oh, okay, you know, I'll go sit down. And he just wanted to talk. He's like, oh, I used to be a tour bus driver for 20 years. I'm retired now. And I saw you, and you seem like a nice guy. And I just wanted to talk to you. I'm like, that's cool. And then he invited the whole family to sit. And then he's like, oh, I'm gonna make food, and we're all gonna eat together and everything like that. You know, and it's really sweet. This is like a lot of, I always say this, like, there's a lot of aloha out there, like from different places where people just give. And it's not even what they give. It's just like the fact that they want to give to you, you know, whatever they have. And that's been incredible. Like that, through all of my travels, I've been really, really fortunate where people will let me stay with them, want to have dinner with me or a drink or crackers or tea, just share something, you know. But yeah, so it's not just here. And, you know, I think when I feel like I have a certain particular style with my photography. So of course I want that to come out and resonate when I photograph somebody, but I also want to capture a part of them and their soul. So with portraits, I think a lot of people will say that. Like a guy I photographed in the Mission, and I gave him back his picture. He was like, wow, he's like, I'm looking right at my soul, like, because of the eyes are so sharp and the reflection of me in that person's eyes is really important. So there is a little bit of both. Like of course I want when somebody sees my work in the city or somewhere, they're like, oh, we know who did that. That's Harry, you know. I think that's a good thing.
I was wondering why you shoot exclusively in black and white.
Oh, that's funny. I get that a lot. When I started in photography, it was all darkroom. So that was really grounded into me, is shooting black and white and processing and printing everything in the darkroom. And the reason back then is that you had full control of that process. So you had full control of like the developing and then full control of how you printed. And you could really, whereas back then in color, you could print in color, but you couldn't really process. And I didn't feel like I had as much control of that. And I've just been doing it for so long that I just see tonalities. So as I shoot, I'm looking at scenes that I know will translate in black and white. Not that I have shot color before. I used to shoot I used to carry a Holga camera and actually shoot with it at night when I would travel. And that would all be in color. So sometimes I'll do that. But I think for so many years I've been doing it that it's really just the way that when I look at something, I can already translate that in my mind. Like, oh, I know that's going to be a great black and white photo because of the range of tones that I already kind of see in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments before we start winding down the talk right here in the front?
This is two-part. One, just wondering if you said that you started with a 50 millimeter lens. I'm wondering if you've adjusted, or do you, sort of what is your approach? How close do you get? Because you seem very close in a lot of these.
Yeah. So I've always pretty much shot with a 50 millimeter lens. And then I switched over the last year and a half, and I shoot with a 28 millimeter. But it's the same concept. Like, I don't think people realize that when I'm shooting these portraits, I'm probably like 6 inches away to somebody. Or when any of these pictures, like, I'm really close to people and really have to be in the moment. So there has to be a lot of trust, and it has to be quick. Like, some of these interactions, Sometimes I'll talk to somebody and I'll know them, and I'll actually photograph them over and over and over in the course of the year, because I'll know, like, oh, this one's not so good, the light's not so good, the backdrop, and so I'll keep photographing them, and then I'm like, oh, okay, now I got it, like, I know, but they're really close, and that's always been my style, because it's great to interact and be like really. You're right there. So, and I want that to come out in my pictures. I want people to be like, oh, wow, like, we had no idea that you were that close to your subjects when you're photographing them.
I think we were trying to find an answer to society's issues and problems. What you brought to us tonight, our people. And I think there's the answer there for us, which we can start with, is getting to know people as people, getting to know our neighbors as our neighbors. There's humanity in all of us, and we all have stories. We're all a community. I mean, we know now about Sweet Pea and Autumn. We know about, the Black Hmong community. Thank you so much, Harry. I think going into 2025, a lot of this, can resonate and can connect us all, and what I think we probably need to do. what is your takeaway? What do you want people to take away from tonight, from your photos, from your art?
I think it's the main thing is if you see somebody, and I don't do that to every single person, but if you see somebody, say hi or give them a compliment, or you never know what that will lead to or what their lives were. But a lot of people, like, they just want to have a connection, you know, or be seen. I think that it's beautiful when people come to the Tenderloin now and to go see the work on the wall. And the people down there will be like, hey, that's my picture. You know, did you see me up there? They're really proud of it. So one takeaway is, like, go down there, walk through there. It's not that bad. You know, people are really, they can be really nice and genuine. And then just, you know, if you see somebody and they ask you for $1 or a cigarette, you know, you don't have to give it to them, but just like, hey, how are you doing? And you'd be surprised at, like, what they'll say, you know. Oh, well, you know, like, I'm doing good, like, thank you, you know. And that could change their whole course of the day.
Well, yeah. So Harry's giving us a gift. It is the end of our talk or discussion, but not the end of the evening. We're now going to turn to the entertainment part of our evening, and then we have a reception where you can get to know Harry. We've got I See You, his books, and then also his artwork is hanging out there. So make sure you come by to say hi to Harry. And we have great food and more entertainment. We're going to end our part of the discussion first by giving Harry Williams this huge round of applause.
Thank you.
So Buffalo Smooth couldn't be here with us tonight, but you are keeping your promise because you had said that if you ever did do a show, that you would have Buffalo Smooth perform at your show. And so, yeah, just say a little bit about this next performance.
Yeah, so over the course of the year, I have not only photographed but videoed Buffalo Smooth, and we had always talked, and you know, he wanted to be a rapper, singer, and so I said, if I ever get a show, then for sure I want you to come and perform and sing, and but I haven't seen him, but I have tons of footage of him singing songs and dancing and just having fun. And so I thought it was really a nice tribute to him that I have a little 1-minute clip of a song that he did that he was freestyling that I'll play for you guys.
I'm like a book, my nigga. I got 10, 20. Oh, hey! San Francisco. Psychosis. Tear that shit up. San Francisco, you know I love you. San Francisco, you know there's nothing that's above you. I rise you, I pick you, and I lift you up. And now I'm giving all my love to you. Now what's up? Let's take a whiff and a swift of this real shit. You got to feel this power, this horn, bitch. Now let's go, San Francisco. I love you, Chief.
Thank you so much, Harry. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to keep myself from crying. Yeah, another round of applause for Harry. Before we let you all out there to the reception and for us to enjoy each other and have compassion for one another, I want to welcome Michelle Zhang from Society of Heart's Delight. We couldn't do this tonight without Society of Heart's Delight, our community partner. So Michelle?
Hey, I'm Michelle Zhang, the founder of Society of Heart's Delight, an organization dedicated to belonging of all people. So we are so happy to be here to connect our Harry Williams and the people he has used his camera to feature in his photography. So we all belong, and we are the community. And to close out our Michelle Miao year-end celebration show. I'm super happy to introduce our performer Snowy to come on this stage to perform her new song. She's a DJ, singer, and songwriter, and also founder of the Hormones band and the Fake Gentle. Yeah, come on, Snowy. Yeah, welcome.
Hello. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Snow. Yeah, I'm from Chengdu, and right now I'm really happy share my new song with everyone. Okay, Be Your Monster. Thank you. 莫让年华虚度，莫让年华虚度，莫让年华虚度。
Let's get it up
Thank
for
you.
Snowy.
Hope you guys enjoying our music.
All right. Thank you all so much again for joining us tonight for Harry Williams and the year-end show of the Michelle Meow program here at the Commonwealth Club World Affairs. Let's go out. Let's love one another. Let's extend our compassion from one another. Be kind. It all starts with us.